Hey, everybody, and welcome to Learning from Smart People. I am your host, Rob Oliver, and I am so excited to have you here with me today. We are trying something brand new with our recording, and I've got not one, but two guests. And as a matter of fact, one of them is a returning guest. She is now not just a smart person, she is a very smart person. That would be my good friend, MJ Callaway. And joining her is Kelli Komondor. I'll have to get it right one of these days, but Kelli Komondor is here as well. And they are working on a new project. Let me just give you an introduction to each of them. Kelli is the creator of K2 Creative. It's the driving force behind the 21 anthology. It is 21 savvy women entrepreneurs that are sharing their determination to jumpstart their businesses, keep their established companies afloat, and raise funds for their nonprofit organizations, all during a global crisis. MJ is the author of the best-selling book, Bounce Up. She is a results strategist, which, think about it this way, it's increased media presence and book sales. And she is doing that for the 21 Resilient Business Women video series, which kicked off on March 31st. Kelli and MJ, welcome to the show.
Great to be here, Rob.
Thank you so much for having us. This is so exciting.
Yeah, so I couldn't figure out how to say this verbally. So the 21 it's the word 20 and all caps WON. And so it's kind of, I understand it's a play on words of 21 and the 20 that won. First of all, where did you come up with this idea? It's fantastic. I love it.
Oh, thank you. The idea was born the night before Thanksgiving last year, 2020. Very long story short, we were invited to go to South Carolina to spend Thanksgiving with our nieces and our brand new great nephew, who we still have not met yet because of the pandemic. And we had canceled those plans. I had canceled, having family here instead. Christmas Eve was shot. I wasn't going to be hosting that either. And, I really started to get down and think about all the bad things that had happened, during 2020, whether it was job losses, loss of life with folks, things like that. And it was just was really working on me. And then it hit me that there was a lot of good things that happened in 2020, and a lot of them were around business. I started my business. I had other colleagues and friends who started their businesses and had a lot of success with it. And it just hit me that, if I can find 21 women, 20 plus myself, to contribute a chapter to this book, I'm calling it 21, WON, because we won. We came out of it on the other side, and we came out and had success.
Yeah, I love it. And then you have MJ that is helping with this. How did did the two of you know each other before, or how did that work?
We did.
We did. So Kelli had reached out to me when she was thinking about the 21 women, and I'll say 20 because she's in the book herself. So when she reached out to me, we knew each other back from the days of when she worked for the Pittsburgh Business Times. Mm-hmm. And then we had kept in touch throughout the years, seeing each other at different networking events and reaching out to each other. And Kelli has actually attended several of my sales programs. As you know, Rob, sales is one of my niches. And she attended, I had a 6-week workshop that she initiated for a group of 15 other business people. So we kept in touch through the years.
That's awesome. Now, how did it take you, to come up with this idea that even in the middle of adversity, even in the middle, this pandemic is one of the worst experiences that I've had in my life, where everyone's isolated, things are just going bad. You've got conflicting reports, you've got stress, you've got all of this stuff. And in the middle of this, you're like, you know what? I think I want to share the positive of what comes out. How do you do that? That's amazing.
Yeah. Well, I'll be honest with you, Rob. It was easier than I thought. It was easier than I had assumed to find the 20 other women that had success, between knowing MJ and a handful of the other women in the book that I kept in touch with, throughout everything. And then I also have a networking group that I belong to called Pittsburgh Women's Mastermind. And a lot of the women came from that group. And because we have monthly virtual meetings, I was able to hear them talking about their successes, talking about what they were doing to stay afloat and to just make it work business wise. A lot of the women have kids they're homeschooling, while they're doing all this. And, they're the true superstars, in my opinion. But, it was really easier than I thought to be able to find 20 other women who said, wow, I do want to tell my story. I do want to be a positive force in all this negativity.
Yeah. So MJ, what was it that really drew you to this project?
First, I knew Kelli and I knew her energy and her enthusiasm and excitement for this. But I was looking at opportunities before I take on any type of project. And this is the second time I have been part of an anthology. I look at the opportunities because, as you know, Rob, we only have so much time. But looking at it, I looked at it as a marketing opportunity. It would be a gap that I could fill between my book Bounce Up that was released last April and my next book that will be released in the fall. So this was a good marketing tool for me. And anytime we can add another product to our services is a good thing. But the key for me was it was an opportunity to build another network of relationships with business women, business people, because it doesn't have to be only business women I wanted to build a network with, but it was an opportunity to expand my network as we're still in the middle of a pandemic. We still haven't opened up completely. So it was a great way to build that. So there were so many opportunities that I saw within the project that had me saying yes.
Yeah, I think about writing a book is a way to build a lot of relationships. When you're doing the anthology, you're getting to know all of the other people in the project. And I guess to me, actually, I had to come to understand that success to me is more about relationships than it is about monetary things. And what you're doing is you're building the relationships with the other people that are in the book. You're working with Kelli, but you're also building relationships with your readers by sharing your story. That's got to be a real great opportunity. Kelli, I'm going to ask you, I'm assuming that even though you're sharing the stories of female entrepreneurs, these are universal truths that people are learning that would apply to entrepreneurs in general as well as other business people. Is that correct?
Yes. Yeah. And we have some women in the book who have been in business for 25 years. We have some like myself who just started their business during the pandemic. There's a lot of personal stories attached, to the business stories because, without having your personal life involved, how involved can your business be? There's a lesson for every single person, no matter male or female, no matter where they are in their business path, whether they've started their business 25 or 30 years ago, they're maybe at that 5-year to 7-year itch where they're like, what should I do with my business next? Where should I turn? I need to up level. I need to pivot. And then it's good for brand new business owners too, who just need that little push to say, wow, if these women can do this in such difficult times, I can do this too.
Do either one of you mind just sharing? Are there some stories in the book that really stand out to you, or some of the things? I'm sure that you've got 21 amazing stories, and I'll ask you to toot some of the other horns of the folks that are in the book. Besides your story, maybe if what is it that stood out to you? What are the kind of stories that kind of really get the essence of what you're looking at and what you were hoping to accomplish with writing this anthology?
Kelli, can
Sure.
I jump in? Because
Yes.
I have one that I'd love to share.
Yes.
So Holly did the Brave Women Project. So she wrote a book, and of course, similar to me, it came out during the pandemic. What she did was she started doing lunch and learns, and she called them the Brave Women Project. So with it, to do one brave thing every day. So that was one of the stories that stood out to me. And Kelli, I hope I didn't scoop your story.
No, that's okay because you didn't. No, I know how much you love Holly's story too, because we've already talked about that. And she was a great addition to the project. One of the stories that hit me the closest was Ellie's story. Ellie has a nonprofit, Alina's Light. Her daughter was the Pitt student who was killed in a domestic violence incident right outside of Pitt's campus 3 years ago. So I've got in touch with her through Corey Walmsley, who is our writing coach and our book editor, who's also in the book. Corey introduced me to Ellie and said, she really did a lot of great things with her nonprofit for Alina's Light, with limited resources, limited interaction with people, because as we know, most of us thrive and our businesses thrive on in-person activity, whether it's networking events, whether it's fundraisers for the nonprofits, things like that. So she connected me with Ellie. I read her first book that she put out that she wrote herself, and then she did contribute a chapter to this book too. And her story is the positivity and what she's doing for, battered women, abused women, teaching high school students about, domestic violence in high school relationships, colleges. It's pretty incredible. I really think that no matter who you are, you're going to be touched by that story.
Definitely.
No doubt. Well, it impresses me this way that you're taking, in that particular instance, you're taking a major negative experience and saying, I'm going to build something positive out of this. And that's really one of the things I want to highlight on this podcast and, over the course of time. So you guys are really perfect guests for me. And here's why. Number one, it's about entrepreneurship. Okay. Number two, it's sharing stories of underrepresented populations. There need to be more women entrepreneurs, and I'm fully in favor of that. And number three, you've got stories about people who are taking the adversity and turning it around and seeing that, this goes back to MJ, what we talked about in your original episode, that they're not just bouncing back, they're bouncing up. They're going to be in a better place as a result of where they are, as a result of what they've learned, than they were when they started. And that's amazing. So then you take all of this, you put it into a book, and then you decide to take the next step, and you're doing a video series with it. Can you talk to me about that a little bit?
That is all MJ all day. Yeah.
Oh my goodness. I will say, Rob, when I thought about it, I didn't really think about the time, but I am so glad that I did it. Rob, as you know, I did something similar with NSA Pittsburgh, National Speakers Association Pittsburgh. I did the 25 for 25 because it was our 25th anniversary. So I did a countdown 25 days from before our last meeting, counting down to the last meeting. So I put it out to Kelli. I said, Kelli, I did this once before. What if we do a 21 in 21? We'll do a 21-day countdown of the 21 women, the 21 days prior to kicking off, and the book comes out, tomorrow, April 21st. So she loved the idea. So and I knew I had a small time frame to do it because we were already in mid-February. So I put it out there, gave everyone my schedule to schedule an interview with me, similar to what we're doing here, the three of us. 2-week time frame. So I interviewed 20 women in 2 weeks because I needed to have March to get all the editing done. You know what it's like to, it's great to do the interview. Then you have all the back work to do with it. So using March as a time to set it up, to get the editing done, plus get everything uploaded to YouTube, get it all scheduled, give the schedule to the women so they knew when their time, their video was coming out. So it was an exciting time. I learned so much about everybody and their story, and it's a great opportunity. What do you think, Kelli?
I think it was incredible. We got so much positive feedback. Something that I thought of about halfway through the videos was a lot of these women have never been interviewed before. A lot of these women are brand new entrepreneurs or just in the early stages of their business, and they've never sat down for an actual interview or a podcast or any of those sort of things. And the reaction we got from everyone was, oh my gosh, it was so comfortable talking to MJ. She made it so easy. She made it so simple, and we weren't as nervous as we thought we were going to be. And so to me, this is so helpful to them in so many ways, because now they can use that experience if they get another opportunity. And now they have that positive vibe to them that they know they can perform on camera and they can talk to people.
Yeah. And listen, MJ is one of those people, like whenever I was going to, she and I would be at the National Speakers Association Pittsburgh meeting, and when I would arrive, MJ was my friend that I would look for because she always reserved a spot for me, and it was at her table, and it was like, it made me think back to like my school days when your friend would save you a spot at the lunch table, and that was what MJ always did for me. And so there's no doubt in my mind that as she's doing the interviews, as she's talking to people, they're getting that warm, fuzzy, friendly vibe, and she makes it easy. So, yeah.
Thank you, Rob.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you.
It's just a testimony to who you are as a person, and one of the reasons why you are a friend of the show. As a matter of fact, I will comment on this as well. MJ, you are the only person so far that has officially been listed as a friend of the show, because not only were you on the show, but you have given me some excellent referrals as far as other guests to come on. So MJ is
Happy
not
to help.
Yeah, well, so you've got like all of the distinguished elements. You are a smart person, you are a very smart person, and you are a friend of the show. So this is great. Now, talk to me a little bit about the process then of getting this whole thing put together, because pardon my male brainness on this, but like women are different beasts than men are. So as you're working with 21 different women, trying to get all of this pulled together and to get everybody, on the same page by the deadlines, how did that whole process work for you?
One word, right, Kelly?
Yeah. Organizations, lists. I don't know which one you're referring to, but we have a million different words that we use.
Collaboration.
Collaboration. Yes. I have to give all that credit to Corey Walmsley, who is my coach, my writing coach, and who's the editor of the book. She gave me timelines. She gave me, one-sheeters to hand out to the women, via email to pass that over. And, I padded everything, of course, because, not everybody's going to turn it in on the day it's due or the day before it's due. But honestly, the excitement and the opportunity, I had no problem getting the information from people, because they had to turn in their chapter. We had to go through a first edit, had to go back to them possibly to, make some changes and some edits. We needed headshots. We needed bios. We needed a lot of things at different times. And I was very careful not to overwhelm, at least I think. I don't know. MJ can tell you, not to overwhelm people and ask them for 10 things at once. I spaced things out because, like I said, these are all entrepreneurs. They're all women running their own businesses. Many of them have, children learning from home. We have some grandmas in the group, lucky them, who are trying to spend time with grandchildren. We all have our own lives to deal with. So I really tried to space things out. And, thanks to Corey giving me those guidelines and then MJ taking over the videos, because I could have, first of all, I don't have the equipment or the skills. But that was a huge help. Karen Kapline, who created the cover, helped me with some Canva little projects and images and media sheets and things like that. It's really a collaboration. It really is a collaboration of all of us.
Would agree. And for the video series, when I uploaded to YouTube, Kelly created all of the thumbnails. I gave her an example for the size, we need the size, and she created all 21 of the thumbnails. So it was such a collaboration. We could not have any rebels in the group.
No.
There was no way we could have a rebel. We had such collaboration from everyone. Even those who did not want to be on camera stepped up to the plate, and they agreed to do a video. They agreed to do an interview. So absolutely.
Yeah, I love it. So do you have any tips for team building when it comes to this? Because, you're dealing with people that have different availability, different skill levels, some people that are, as you said, have been in business for 25 years, some people that have been in business for a very short time. How do you kind of build that team and get the most out of all of the team members and get everybody on the same page? That's a lot of questions.
No, that's fine. I think a lot of it is the relationship that I have with each person, and even the folks that I've met just through this process. I was introduced to a handful of women for the first time, but they all came by referral. So they were by other women who were already in the book, said, hey, I have a friend, or hey, I know somebody. And to me, referrals are that's life, just trusted relationships where you can make a referral to somebody and become friends. And I think that had a lot to do with it, was that, I valued everybody's opinions, everybody's thoughts, everybody's idea for what their chapter would look like. And I think too, because Corey gave us an outline of, basics as to how the chapter should flow and how they should look, I think that made the writing process easier for those who aren't naturally writers. And I just think the energy and the excitement around the project just kept everybody going. We have a private Facebook group for just the 21 authors. I posted a lot of info in there. MJ's in that group almost every single day, sharing info about the videos. Corey shared a lot of things in there that are helpful writing tips. And it was just, I hate to keep beating a dead horse here, but it was collaboration. It was just everybody working together.
I'm going to spin off on what Kelli said. Definitely with the directions. Corey did a great job. Kelli did a great job with the organization, the list of what we needed when we needed it. And then from my perspective, trying to give everyone directions on what they needed in the way of, a light in front of them so that they looked good on camera. Sound, trying to get earbuds so that there isn't an echo, but giving everybody directions, instructions on what is going to help them be the best, whether it's the best writer that they can be or the best interviewee they could be throughout the whole entire process.
Yeah, so in some ways you're getting good people, you're bringing them together, but then you're equipping them with the tools for success. And that's ultimately what you're doing. You've created a structure, and getting everybody to buy into that and to be part of that. And then you create this powerful product. Okay, I have to ask a question because this has been bothering me. All right.
Uh-oh.
There are 21 women that are involved, and the title is 21, WON. Is there one that didn't win, or is there? Are all 21 winners?
All 21 are winners. If anything, I would leave myself out of the equation on that if I had to. If I had to just pick 20 women to focus on, I would, of course, step back and let everybody else be the focus. But no, every story, some of them start out really rough. They start off with personal stories of, like we spoke about, really trying the most terrible things that can happen. I mean, there are 3 cancer survivors in this book who speak about their cancer. And there is one individual who had a miscarriage during 2020. And it's all very honest. I don't want to make it read like it's, a big personal drama, but
Right.
our personal stories feed into how we operate and run our businesses. And it just all blends together. I just cannot say enough what an amazing job these women did at telling their stories. So many of them said, I can't do this. I can't write the story. I can't talk about myself. I mean, MJ, you heard it on the videos, and for people to be able to come out and say, you know what? Yeah, I'm going to take these edits and change things around. And, the funny thing is, and I'll say this real quick, I found the hardest thing was getting women to talk about the success in 2020. They can tell their backstory like nobody's business. They can tell everything that led up to that. And then when it comes time to brag and say, I did it, I was successful, I had a lot of really good things happen to me, it was like, wah, wah, wah. Everybody shut down. And I had to write back to people and call them and text them and say, no, I need more. You got to dig deeper. You got to tell me what you did to be successful. And then it got the wheels turning and people really started to say, okay, you know what? I really did do good things and I want to talk about it.
Yeah, let me just follow up on that because there's 2 things that you touched on in there that I think I personally struggle with, and because I struggle with it, I'm sure everyone else must struggle with it too. The one is that inability to see your own ability and your own greatness, and maybe greatness is overstating it, but so many of us, we go through life and we look at ourselves as kind of like, this is just little old me doing my little old thing, and I'm not that special, and I don't have that much that I don't bring that much to the table. And then the other piece of that is, when I was growing up, I was kind of told, you don't brag about yourself. It's better to have someone else toot your horn for you. And you're struggling with those and you're teaching people that it's okay to recognize the uniqueness and the amazingness and the beauty of who you are as a person. And it's okay to talk about what you've been able to accomplish. That's a really cool step. And I congratulate you for doing that. And, thank you for that.
Yeah, I mean, MJ, I think you had to do a lot of that work too in the videos. It wasn't just the writing process. It was actually the speaking process of talking about themselves. And you're right. Growing up, you're always told to be humble, to take a step back. And, if you don't talk about yourself and you don't promote yourself, who's going to?
Right. With the videos, I think it was easier for me because to get it out of them rather than with the writing, because I was asking them point blank questions and they had questions ahead of time. Kelly and I sat down, we had 5 questions that we came up with that I would ask. Now, I didn't ask those 5 questions every single time exactly the same way. As you know, Rob, we kind of spin things off.
Sure.
And then I'd also spin off questions from some of the responses. But we're having a conversation, so it's easier to pull out those successes in a conversation than having them sit down and write it themselves. So Kelly did a great job and Corey did a great job on pulling it out from the written word.
Wonderful. Well, listen, in hearing about all of the work that you've done and in hearing about the book, I'm definitely going to get a copy for myself, and I would encourage all of my listeners to do the same. Let's talk about it. Where can they get the book, and what's the easiest way to do that?
I would say probably by visiting the website. It's the word 20 spelled out, WON book.com. And the link will be live on there tomorrow, April 21st, to go to the Amazon page. And it's a free download. So we're giving a freebie. We're letting everyone download the book for free.
That is entirely too generous. I know that I will be downloading it. I am looking forward to it. And listen, so on a second note, if people are looking to get a hold of either one of you, Kelly, what's your website?
It's K2creativellc.com.
Wonderful. And MJ, your website?
mjcallaway.com. And it's Callaway like Callaway Golf. Sometimes people want to stick an O in there. So mjcallaway.com.
No problem. I will put links to all 3 of those in there to make sure that people can get the book and that they can get a hold of both of you as well. All right. We have come to 3 questions to establish your humanity. And you guys ready for this?
I think.
Yeah.
Okay. So MJ, I'm going to ask both of you the same questions. And that is, what is one pet peeve that you have? MJ, you get to go first.
Okay. Mine is when someone pulls out in front of me when I'm barely a car length away. Like, oh my goodness, you could cause a wreck.
Yeah, understood. Kelly?
Funny thing, mine has to do with driving as well. I don't like when people don't pull up to the car in front of them. Some people leave at a red light 2 car lengths between them and the car in front of them, and then you mess everybody up behind you that are stuck in an intersection or, pull up, not right to their bumper, but pull up.
Yeah, it's so funny that you say that because in order to get to my house, there's a traffic light and it's got one of those like magnetic sensors in the ground. And my problem is not so much people that don't pull up to each other's bumper, but it's people that don't pull up to the line. And so there are car lengths behind the turning arrow never comes on because they just haven't pulled up that far. All right. Kelly, you get to go first this time. If you're stranded on a desert island, who is one person that you would like to have with you stranded on your desert island?
Oh, that's not fair because I have 2 children, so I can't choose one. So I would have to choose my husband because he is my best friend and my best support system.
That's a very wise and sage answer. MJ, what about you?
Oh my goodness, that's a terrible question. Again, I have 2 children. So I am going to choose my son because he has more survivor skills than what my daughter would. So
Right. But
he would keep us alive.
you know what? He would be like the professor, and he would be able to hook you up with some way to communicate with your daughter so that they would know you're alive. And we'll give him credit for that. Okay.
Okay.
Last question. Meatloaf. Is meatloaf underrated, overrated, or is it actually the perfect comfort food? MJ, what about you?
Oh, I'm going to say I would have to switch it to a turkey meatloaf. So first, and I would say it is definitely comfort food. I will make it with purple potatoes.
Beautiful. Kelly.
I think it's underrated. I do make meatloaf often. I use beef. And my secret, which I shouldn't tell anybody, but I will, is I use crushed up stovetop stuffing mix instead of breadcrumbs
Oh,
because it gives it more flavor because of all those seasonings that are in
Mhm.
there. So that's what I use instead of breadcrumbs. And I always put A1 steak sauce in my meatloaf.
two secrets that we can all take away from this. Listen, it's just the three of us and all of the people across the globe that are listening. Your secret is safe with
Yes.
us. So fantastic. Kelly and MJ, thank you guys so much. Your book project is phenomenal. I will be downloading that tomorrow, and I appreciate both of you being on the show. To all my listeners, thanks for being here today. Again, I'll encourage you, if you have not, please subscribe. Hit the If you're on YouTube, hit the notifications bell so that you don't miss a single episode. And I will remind everyone that when you stop learning, you stop living. Have a great day, everybody.
Thank you, Rob.
Thank you so much.
You bet.